Welcome back to my channel. It's raining outside, my Jaguar is drenching under the rain and waiting for a manifold gaskets replacement. Gaskets have already arrived, but I don't feel like doing any repairs in such weather, so that not to catch a cold, I would better cut a video using another last year's footage and show you 3 easy steps how I replaced an idler puller bearing of my X-type. You see, the engine is idling and there is a bad bearing making chattering noises as it spins. I have to find out which bearing has failed before I start taking the accessory drive apart. I have filmed a special video how to locate a bad bearing using just a 1 meter long piece of hose, which I believe is one of the most helpful but underrated videos on my channel. You can see the link to this video both on the screen and in description below, and I'll be thankful if you watch it and give it a thumb up. So after I located a bad bearing, the upper idler in my case, I started removing it. The first step was to release the tension of the belt. You can do it with a 3/8 inch ratchet, the middle-sized one but with a long handle. I'll show you another option how to release the belt tensioner without a ratchet. I've got an L-shaped wrench, a square 10mm one, and inserted the short end of it into the square tensioner hole and added to the length of its lever using a ratchet extension. I had to push it hard to the backside of the engine bay to keep the belt loose. At the same time, with my left hand I took the belt off the alternator pulley and removed the wrench. The idler I had to remove was secured with a 15mm bolt, but there was scarcely any room between the engine and the car body to fit the ratchet on the bolt head. So I got an old 15mm socket, made 2 notches on the opposite sides of it, so that I could fit a 17mm wrench in these notches and unscrew the bolt using this socket. I extended the wrench with a ring spanner and broke free the bolt. After that I could reach down by bare hands and go on unscrewing the idler together with its fastener. To tell you the truth, it would be much easier to remove the idler using 2 hands, but I had to leave enough room for filming the process. I was taking a video, that's why it turned out to be rather tricky to make repairs considering how tight this space was. Finally, I removed the bolt and the idler itself. That's what it looks like when taken out. The bearing felt loose and worn out. There was a lot of play when wiggling it back and forth. It was clear the idler needed replacement. In accordance to the accessory belt scheme, this idler is equipped with the most common bearing in the world, 6203. And I've made up my mind to knock it out of the pulley and press in a new one. Here we came to the second step, changing the bearing. You see, I bent the bearing out of the pulley with a few good swings using a steel pipe, a hammer and a socket. I don't remember the socket size, I can tell you for sure that it should press on the outer race of the bearing. I got a new bearing and press it in with a hammer this time. I want to warn you that it is highly recommended to press the bearing using a hydraulic press or at least a vise rather than hammer it. It will prevent the pulley from wobbling in case the bearing is pressed in incorrectly. But this time I tried out a new procedure. You know I am fond of doing experiments. So when the bearing was pressed in, I cleaned it with a thinner from some dirt, I believe the remnants of a worn belt. After that I went on mounting it where it belongs. Basically I just reversed everything I did when removing it. It's a 2-hand job, but I had to do it with 1 hand to have enough space for filming the process, you know. First I tightened the bolt with fingers until I couldn't tighten it anymore. After that I made use of my magic notched 15mm socket. I also extended a 17mm wrench with a ring spanner this time. Sometimes I use a steel pipe for this purpose. I released the tensioner with a 10mm L wrench and put the belt back. I preferred to put the belt around all pulleys, leaving the alternator pulley for last. I started the engine. There were no more weird noises. The close-up look at the idler showed no wobbling, no chattering.